Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Boxing Along the Beltway. Our news and notes for this week, and we just keep having great events coming our way throughout the month of April. This is indeed the awesome April of Beltway boxing. We're going to this week we're going to preview the Washington Golden Gloves Regional Championships that'll take place on Saturday, April 22nd at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland, and give you a little early update on the Saturday, May 20th card that's going to be held at the MGM National Harbor Casino. Some big things are happening with that card coming up, and we're going to let you know about that right away. Also, may have some final thoughts on what took place actually over the last 2 weeks, actually last 6 days, really, at the MGM National Harbor Casino. I have some further thoughts about that as well. Beltway Boxing News and Notes brought to you by Real-Time Pain Relief, from boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain to muscle strain and everything in between. Boxing Along the Beltway recommends Real-Time Pain Relief, the fast, safe, plant-based ointment. Don't forget to go to www.freepainoffer.com. Buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. Washington Golden Gloves coming up on Saturday, April 22nd. Of course, we have the live coverage of that card. We have the live call of that from Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. Should be a great event. Now, remember last year, we didn't get a chance to do the regionals last year because we had another card we did that day. But coming out of the regionals last year, especially in the open division, this is where, in all honesty, the Golden Gloves are most important, is the open division, because the winners in the open division will advance to the National Golden Gloves Tournament Champions held this year in Lafayette, Louisiana, coming up on April 30th through May 7th. Important to us always, because using the National Golden Gloves, whoever does well there, is usually a springboard to great things as pros. And it's happened many times over the years. We've been fortunate in the D.C. region, Washington, D.C. region, to have, out of there since going back to the mid-'70s, we've had two Hall of Famers, and Sugar Ray Leonard and of course, Mark Too Sharp Johnson. We've had a number of guys go on to world championships: Sugar Ray Leonard, Mark Johnson, also DeMarcus Corley, Lamont Peterson. If you count Steve Cunningham, who actually is originally from Philadelphia, but was in the Navy during his time as a Golden Glove champion, and so he was in our region at that time. He went on to win world championship as well. Gervonta Davis has now done it. So we had so many do that. And of course, we had a number of national champions who are now solid pros. Of course, Mike Yes Indeed Reed, Lamont Roach Jr., Beatrice Ballard, Jerry Odom was a golden boy. In other words, he was the best boxer at the Golden Gloves his year. That was the year that we had three champions: Demetrius Ballard, Jerry Odom, and Gervonta Davis back in 2012. DC won the team trophy that year, and it's been a great history that we've had, but we've not had a national champion in the Golden Gloves since Gary Antoine Russell did it in 2014. So you also have, by the way, three Olympians in that situation as well, with Gary Antoine Russell, Sugar Ray Leonard, and Lewis Heidi Curtis was a champion as well. So it's been a great history that has really kind of faltered a little bit over the last few years. So we're looking to get that back. And so as we look in the open division, we have a number of outstanding bouts coming up this Saturday night. The big bouts, I think, involve the Avalar brothers, Tommy and Wilfredo Avalar. And now we go with their hometowns instead of their gyms in this situation. By the way, for those who don't know, the regional Golden Gloves matches the team from D.C., Maryland, and Delaware, taking on the team from Virginia and North Carolina. Delaware joined our region about 2 or 3 years ago, and they do have one representative in the open, one representative in the novice division. We already have two unopposed champions in the region. But first of all, before we get to that, let's talk about the Avalar brothers. Tommy and Wilfredo, they have been outstanding throughout this tournament, and they're in great bouts coming up in the regional championships on Saturday. Talk with Fredo Avalar's bout first. He is in the 141-pound division. He goes up against Diego Abregu, who's a former champion, regional champion in this event out of Leesburg, Virginia. This is going to be a great bout. We talked about this a couple weeks ago here on the podcast. The contrast in styles should be very interesting in this one. Diego Abregu, more of a boxer. Wilfredo Avalar, as I said before, out of the three Avalar brothers, Wilfredo, Tommy, and Brian, Wilfredo, I think, has the most power out of the three. And that'll be a very interesting clash of styles when Avalar takes on Abregu at 141 pounds, Wilfredo Avalar. Meanwhile, at 132 pounds, Tommy Avalar will take on Keyshawn Davis out of Alexandria, Virginia. That should be a great bout as well at 132 pounds. Also at 165 pounds, should be an outstanding bout as well, as Ashton Sykes out of Columbia, Maryland meets, as I said before, arguably the best amateur going right now in this area, and that's Troy Isley out of Alexandria, Virginia. Of course, he is one of the top amateurs in the country right now. I believe he's number one in his weight class at 165 pounds. So that's going to be a great bout there. Ashton Sykes taking on Troy Isley. 178 pounds should be interesting as well because Cenk Plana, who probably had the best performance of anybody in the Washington Golden Gloves Championships early this month on April 1st. You heard that card here on the Box on Beltway Google app for Android. He's out of Hagerstown, Maryland. He's trained by Simon Brown, former world champion, three-time world champion. And Plano will take on William Jones out of Hopewell, Virginia. Didn't get a chance to see William Jones at the Virginia, North Carolina regionals. He walked over in 178 pounds. So that can be interesting as well. Also at 201 pounds, you've got Thomas Mottinger out of Seaford, Delaware. He's a former novice champion. He'll take on Stephen Kelly out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. That's at 201 pounds. I believe Mottinger won his novice at 178. And Malik Titus out of Baltimore at 201 plus pounds takes on George Harris of Alexandria, Virginia. We also have 123 pounds. Marcus Wright out of Temple Hills, Maryland takes on Javon Campbell of Raleigh, North Carolina. So two North Carolina boxers will be involved in this event in the open division. We already have two unopposed champions. At 108 pounds, Julius White out of Washington, D.C. Walks over and he is the regional champion at that weight. At 114 pounds, Rashid Wright, who actually was a regional champion at 108 pounds last year, he moves on at 114 pounds. So those are the open bouts. Should be a lot of fun. Should be a great matchup as well. Moving to the novice division, they'll open the show on April 22nd, Saturday, April 22nd. A couple of good events, good bouts there, and they're also in the same basic division. 132, 141 pounds are the marquee bouts in both the open and the novice division. At 132 pounds, DeJuan Concepcion out of District Heights, Maryland, he'll take on Ian Holman out of Fairfax, Virginia. He's a former novice champion. He's looking to defend his title at 132 pounds, as is Kyrie Clinkscales out of Manassas, Virginia at 141 pounds. He'll take on Ian Simmons out of Hillcrest Heights, Maryland. That should be a good bout as well. At 165 pounds, Elon Tremblay out of Frederick, Maryland, he'll take on Christian Fain of Richmond, Virginia. Fain tries to become a two-time Golden Gloves regional novice champion. He won last year. 178 pounds, Aziz Williams out of Barre, Delaware. He's only fought, I believe, once or twice in the Golden Glove tournament. He has walked over the last couple of times, and he'll take on Jason Ampey out of Sutherland, Virginia. Going back up to 123 pounds, D'Angelo McDonald at District Heights, Maryland, takes on Gabrielle Smith of Heathville, Virginia. He walked over as well. At 152 pounds, Devontae Warren, who's fought outstandingly in the Golden Gloves out of Laurel, Maryland, he'll take on Joan Planas of Manassas, Virginia. Now, Planas won his weight class at a special bout in Portsmouth, Virginia about a week or so ago. So we haven't had a chance to really see him as well. At 201 pounds, Tyler Langer out of Baltimore, Maryland, takes on Giovanni Scuduri of Ashburn, Virginia. And at 201 plus pounds, this should be a good one. James McMurdo out of Salisbury, Maryland, takes on Ricky Campbell out of Chesapeake, Virginia. That should be a good bout as well. Both those guys fought very hard in their regionals over the last couple of weeks. So That is the card for the Washington Gold Gloves Regional Championships at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland, this coming Saturday, April 22nd. Hopefully you can join us live at Rosecroft Raceway. If not, we'll have the call beginning at 7:25 p.m. Eastern Time here on the Box on Beltway Google app for Android, and iOS listeners can listen on Spreaker.com and iHeartRadio.com. So get ready for that. It should be a great event. Now, let me talk a little bit more about what has taken place over the last couple weeks at the MGM National Harbor Casino, which is 2 miles down the road from Rosecroft Raceway. I just love talking about that because I just think that is just amazing that so many great bouts and so much great action has taken place literally within 2 miles of each other. One exit away on the Beltway, basically. And what took place, especially this past Friday, April 14th, at the MGM National Harbor Casino, really puts us in a great standing. I was a little concerned about this card from a fan's point of view because it did not have the star-studded names as Vasyl Lomachenko, Jason Sosa, former world champion. It really had some good names. Of course, it was heavily Ukrainian, and of course, the crowd was heavily Ukrainian on April 8th at MGM. So, as I said, going into the bout on the 14th, this card on Friday, April 14th, was for us. And we showed up, especially folks in Baltimore. Baltimore came out in great numbers. Good crowd, 2,159 people. Saw a great card, really a nice card. One of the best bouts this year. I mean, you got to put Glenn DeZern, Leroy Davila in the running for bout of the year so far in the Beltway. And yes, it's not a Beltway promotion, but it happened in the Beltway. It featured a Beltway boxer. So for my money, it's in the hunt. And I think in this particular case, it is, I won't say the clubhouse leader, but it's right up there because it was an outstanding bout. And it was a great way for Glenn DeZern to be shown on national television. He's going to get a lot of good feedback behind that. He's going to get a lot of good offers behind that card, behind that bout. The backstory with he and married to his wife, who's also a boxer, Franchon Cruz DeZern. I mean, he's marketable. And based on that performance against Leroy Davila, he is definitely a marketable boxer right now. So he really became a great name, an up-and-coming name based on his great performance against Leroy Davila. Malik Hawkins, more people knew about Malik Hawkins. He had been on TV before on FS1 and on CBS Sports Network. His opponent wasn't as tough as DeZern's opponent against Davila. But he did put on a good performance. He did what he was supposed to do in that situation. So that definitely says good things about Malik Iceman Hawkins. Hakeem Rahman Jr. needed just 40 seconds. He'll be back in the ring very soon. I believe he's scheduled to be on a card and happening in June. I believe it's June 17th at Du Burns Arena. We'll talk more about that down the road. But I believe he's scheduled to be on that card. The rest of the card is very nice. Main event, we saw maybe a star has been born in Dimitri Bivol, who was outstanding against a very tough and very game Samuel Clarkson. And just the crowd was there, 2,159 people. You cannot beat that in that situation, other than having another sellout. So it puts us in great standing come Saturday, May 20th. And that's going to be the acid test, especially for the D.C. area side of the Beltway. When Gary Russell Jr. defends his title against Oscar Escandón, his WBC Featherweight Championship against Oscar Escandón in the main event, it'll be on Showtime. Now, according to the banner I have in front of me, the card is scheduled to get underway at 8 p.m. Now, as we talked about during the April 14th card, while Marsha and I talked about this, and we got it straight from the executive producer of the Showbox telecast. Again, it's going to be a big day for the Beltway because Gervonta Davis will be defending his IBF Super Featherweight Championship earlier in the day in London, and that will be shown on Showtime International, as Mr. Gordon Hall mentioned that. So it's a huge day for us. And then when we come here they've added two, I think, outstanding bouts to the Russell Jr. Oscar Escalon bout. Now, originally, when the two of them were supposed to fight earlier in March, the co-feature was supposed to be Jamal Charlo, taking on Charles Hatley for Charlo's version of the junior middleweight championship. However, they moved that bout to this coming Saturday as part of the bout between Andre Berto and Errol Spence. So they moved in two pretty good bouts to replace that. There'll be three bouts shown on the Showtime telecast, which is probably one of the reasons why it starts earlier than usual, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. One of the bouts will be a matchup for the interim IBF Super Middleweight World Championship as Andre Durrell out of Flint, Michigan takes on Jose Uzcategui. He is out of Mexico, and that'll be for the interim IBF Super Middleweight Championship. The winner is scheduled to get a shot at James DeGale, the IBF champion, once he comes back from the injuries that he suffered back in January when he fought WBC champion Badou Jack, who a few weeks ago, I could not remember his name. That was the guy I was thinking of, for those who have been following the podcast. Badou Jack was the guy I was thinking of. And they fought in January in Brooklyn, New York, and DeGale was injured. So that's why Andre Durrell is now the interim champ. Actually, they're fighting for the interim championship. I'm sorry, it's I said Andre Berto and Errol Spence. That's actually Kell Brook and Errol Spence. It'll be Andre Berto and Sean Porter, April 22nd. Thank you very much for that information, listeners. Durrell is 25-2, 16 KOs, and he is a great boxer who many may not remember, actually got his start as a pro right here in Maryland. He fought back in 2005 at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, fought Carlos the Headbanger Jones out of Washington, D.C., and knocked him out in the fourth round. I believe both Andre and Anthony made their pro debuts at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. So Durrell just said 25-2, 16 KOs. Will take on Uzcategui, who is 26-1, 22 KOs, has never fought out of Mexico, I should say. His last bout was his first loss. So, no, I take it back. No, his last bout, his bout before his last bout was his first loss. 26-1, 22 KOs. And the winner, as I said, going to take on IBF champion James DeGale. Okay, so it should be a good bout. Actually, if Durrell wins, it'll be a rematch against DeGale, because DeGale did defeat Durrell early in his career by unanimous decision. Okay, so that's one bout in the co-feature. Also in the co-feature, Rances Barthelemy. He's out of Cuba, now fighting out of Las Vegas. He's 25-0, 13 KOs, taking on Kirill Relik, Mad B Relik, out of Belarus. He's 21-1, 19 KOs, and the winner of that bout will be the mandatory WBA contender. This is a WBA title eliminator. He'll be the mandatory WBA challenger for the brand new WBA super lightweight champion, Julius Indongo of Namibia. He recently beat Ricky Burns, who beat Relik in Relik's last bout. That's the only loss Relik's had on his roster. So, on his record, I should say. So, Julius Indongo awaits the winner of the bout between Barthelemy and Relik. Of course, Barthelemy is a former champion at both lightweight and super lightweight. So, in fact, his last bout was a super lightweight championship bout. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this card. And, of course, the Russell brothers, Antonio Russell and the debuting Antoine Russell scheduled to be in that card. And according to social media, Kobe the Soldier Breedy will be on this card. And that's a big step as far as the type of card that he's been on. I mean, he's been fighting primarily at the ABC Sports Complex in Springfield, Virginia. So to go from that level to, even though it was an undercard bout, to go to the level of being on a major card such as this, big step for Kobe the Soldier Breedy. out of Clinton, Maryland by way of Barbados. So he's scheduled to be on this card as well. So big things are happening. Big things are happening. I mean, you look at what the MGM National Harbor has already given us. Just the location itself and the grandness of the location. So now we have just about everything, we have everything in place. We've got the location, we've got the boxers, we've got the promoters, both here and elsewhere. So we can really start making things happen here. And it should be a lot of fun come next few months here in the Beltway. So it should be a great time. That's Saturday, May 20th. We'll talk more about that card as we get closer to it. A lot of cards in between. Of course, next Saturday, on Saturday, April 29th, we'll be coming to you live from the ABC Sports Complex in Springfield, Virginia for the Victory Boxing Promotions card. No word exactly who is on the card. I mean, I've heard the main event is going Mike Balogun, but the card has been kind of shifting over the last few days. So hopefully by next week, our next week podcast, we'll give you at least an idea of who's going to be a part of that card coming up on Saturday, April 29th. May 13th, there'll be a card. Saturday, May 13th, there'll be a card at the Masonic Temple in Norfolk, Virginia. One day I'm going to have to go down there and check those cards out. That's usually a Ponytail Productions card. Just haven't found my way to get down there to that one. So May 13th will be there. Well, actually, the card will be there. I said May 20th, we're back at MGM National Harbor. So there was a card coming up in June, and I think another card a little bit later in June at a brand new location called The Campus. It is located in Ashburn, Virginia, and there's scheduled to be a card there coming up. So big things are happening, and hopefully some more cards will be coming to the MGM National Harbor. They seem to be gung-ho for boxing there. We've got everything they need, just a matter of people getting the funds together and putting shows on. So we'll see what happens to get down the road. Beltway Boxing News and Notes brought to you once again by Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. Don't forget, we're live on the air Saturday, April 22nd from Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland for the Regional Golden Glove Championships. And you can't be there live. Join us live on the Box on Beltway Google app for Android. We're on the air at 7:25 p.m. Eastern Time, live from Rosecroft Raceway. We hope you can join us. Until then, I'm Gary Digital Williams. Thanks for joining me, everybody. And always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.